Gina. Perfect. Let me click on. And thank you so much, everyone else, for joining and for your patience while we figured out this whole technical link, everything like that. Listen, we are great at what we do, and that's not technology. So we'll stick to what we're good at. But I'm so happy that you guys are spending your lunch break, if you're on Eastern time like I am, or breakfast, or whatever it is, wherever you are, spending your time with us and for you, because this is really for you. So today we're going to talk about human design. Now, I can only see a few people at a time, but who here has heard of human design or is somewhat familiar with it? Pretty much no hands I'm seeing. I would be surprised if a lot of you had. Oh, Mona, yep, yes. So if you want, while you are following along, while I do a brief introduction, you can head to my website. It's adrianakeefe.com/getyourchart. If you don't already have your human design body graph chart, you can get it there. Actually, if it's easier, I can drop it in the comments. And that way you'll be able to, I just direct message someone. See, what did I say about this technology thing? Here we go. Okay, so that way you'll be able to follow along and kind of get a sense of what you are, comparing it to exactly what I'm saying, because this is going to be a brief description, basically, and then at the end we can dive a little bit deeper into individuals' charts. Christine, you've heard of it. Fawn, yep. Oh, yep. Other Christine, no, I haven't heard of it. Yeah, it's not new, but it's starting to gain popularity now. So human design, I call it the number one way to step into your authentic power. I'm hoping everyone can see my slides up here. If you cannot, please drop something in the chat so that we can fix it. And it's really about utilizing your human design to step into who you are and how you can better walk through life, whether that's personally or professionally, if you're a business owner, if you're in corporate, whatever that looks like for you. So you're going to walk away knowing how to effectively manage yourselves through your energetic mechanics, your authentic decision-making tool based on your human design type, because everything is a decision in life. Every single day you're making decisions. So that's why this is so important. And how to effectively and compassionately communicate with coworkers and other people, other relationships that you have, so that you feel heard and that other person feels heard. That's another big piece of human design, is how you talk with everyone else, essentially. So we'll give a little background about what we're doing today. I'll talk briefly about who I am, because you're probably up there being like, great, but who is this chick and why does she have here to tell me about human design? And then we'll talk a brief history of human design, where it came from, an introduction to the types. There's 5 types. If you are familiar with the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs or everything like that, people can live and breathe by those modalities. And that works for a lot of people. I did not ever find that it resonates for me. And I think a lot of that was because it's a personality test. So for me, human design, when I input my birth information, and if you don't know your exact birth time, that matters. So we can chat about that in the Q&A after. And that just felt more real to me, and it really resonated with me. We'll talk about decision-making support, exploring a little bit deeper, and then we'll go into some individual chart readings and Q&A. So a little bit about me. My name is Adriana. I also go by Anna, Audrey, depends on who you ask. I'm an award-winning real estate dropout, is what I call it, turned life and manifestation coach with an expertise in human design. I work specifically with high achieving women, especially those who are looking to go further in their career and their lives without sacrificing their family time, or vice versa. They want to be there. Their kids are young. They want to be there for the family, but they don't want to sacrifice their goals. So that's what we use human design to work toward. I'm a wife. I'm a mother to 3. My youngest is now 1. Makes me so sad to say that. Lover of wine, New Girl, although Schitt's Creek is a solid runner-up. Any Schitt's Creek or New Girl fans here? Oh, I binged that multiplicator. Yep, that's big. I'm big for me. And then I'm a host of the podcast called Women Who Want More. So this is a little brief rundown of what you can see. These are just 2 chart types. And if you see me looking over on another screen, it's because I have another screen right here. These are 2 examples of what charts can look like. If you get it on my website, it can look a little bit different, but they all are telling you similar information. Some are more in depth, some are less in depth, but you get the same, you know, type, authority, strategy, not self-theme, things like that. Oh, wait, go back. Sorry. I wanted to touch on the brief history before we get into the introduction of types. So, what is human design? It is said to be, it reveals the genetic design, or some call it the energetic blueprint for you and for your soul. It shows you how to access your body's consciousness as a decision-making tool. And it's like an operating manual to your soul, to your authentic self. It's how you were literally born into this world to operate. So human design combines astrology, astronomy, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the chakra systems, and genetics. So I think that's a big, I'm actually a science major. I went to school for veterinary, but I'm also very much into the spiritual world. So I call it my little bit of woo, little bit of science, because I love the science. I love to have both. And this is just perfect for me to meet me in the middle. It's based on the energy from the sun at the time of your birth. So that energy being neutrinos, which are the subatomic particles that are similar to an electron, but have no electrical charge and a very small mass. So it's how those neutrinos were imprinting on your body, your soul, your being at the time of birth. So human design is about understanding the power of conditioning that lives exclusively in your mind. And what I mean by that is going back to who you were at birth, who you were imprinted to be at birth, and how the society, or nature versus nurture, you know, conditioned you to be the way you are today, and the way that you can decondition yourself to go back to your authenticity. So understanding your behaviors and patterns, your unique geniuses, and where the power of conditioning has taken you away from who you're meant to be, and how you can step back into that light. It was discovered in 1987 by a man named Ra Uru, and he said he had an unusual mystical experience in Ibiza, Spain, where, long story short, he received a transmission of information, kind of like a download. If you ever get, I know this sounded very weird to me at first, but the more I explored it, the more I understood. If you ever just get like a download of information, almost like channeling this information that you don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden you have this brilliant idea. Or all of a sudden you can speak to exactly what someone's asking you to, and you didn't even know you knew that information. That's what I compare it to. He had this download of information, which is now known today as the human design system. So here's a little introduction to the types. There are manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, which is what I am, projectors, and reflectors. And then a little bit about, and don't worry that you have to memorize all this, because I'll touch on it all again as we work through it. But your strategy is how you react with stimulus from the outside. So how you use your energy to find alignment and create opportunities for yourself. Your authority means the way that you make decisions, kind of like your internal navigational system, your little internal GPS. And then your not self-theme is another important one to recognize and understand, because your not self-theme is exactly what it sounds like. This is what you feel when you don't follow your type and your strategy. When you're feeling resistance, when you feel like you're trying to be anyone but yourself, this feeling can really encompass what it is when your not self is popping up. So for me, that's, and I'll go through my chart, I'll show you guys my insides, and you'll see, for me, it's frustration. So I know if anyone were to ask me exactly what feeling I feel when, say, I wasn't hitting my work goals, or I couldn't manage all of my home life and balance, you know, quotes, balance it all, I would say, I'm so frustrated. I kept saying, I'm so frustrated. That's what I felt over and over again. So that's your not self-theme. And that meant that I was living out of alignment. We will also touch on the centers. Sorry, presentation's a little slow. Here we go. There are 9 centers and they are based on the chakra system. So if you're familiar with the chakra system, this will look a little familiar to you. So it's the hubs of energy within the body. Your body graph, which is what this chart is called, reflects these 9 centers that represent different aspects of us. So the head center is the top triangle, and this is where we house inspiration, ideas, and really store experiences. The second triangle facing down is the Ajna center. This is where concrete thinking happens, data analysis, data processing. That one I call my husband because he's big on data analysis and processing. The throat center is the square underneath that, and this is for communication and manifestation. The G center is below that, and that's also sometimes called the self center or identity center. So those are interchangeable, and that is that diamond, and that's exactly what it sounds like: self, identity, love, sense of direction. Then you have off to the right, the heart center. This is money, ego, willpower. This is a very interesting center, probably one of my favorite ones to talk about. Under that, in the middle, we have the solar plexus center. I'm sorry, on the right, we have the solar plexus center, which is emotions and moods. The spleen center is the triangle on the left, and this is adrenal pressure and stress, and it's I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up right now. I usually jump to the middle one. We're talking about spleen center. Spleen center is the intuition and health, immune system, survival, sense of physical safety, sense of time, everything. If you could think of like going way back in like caveman days, like that's the intuition and sense of survival center. And then in the middle is the sacral center, and this is our workforce energy, our life force energy, sex energy. It's a very powerful motor. If you are a generator type, a generator or a manifesting generator, you have this defined, which means you have a lot of energy. You can go, go, go. You have a lot of that motor that carries you through life. And then at the bottom is the root center. And this is where we house adrenal pressure and stress. It's also another motor center. So this is, if you have this defined, which I will get into in a little bit, it's another center that you can get a lot of energy from. So in this picture, they are all defined, meaning they're all colored in. A defined center means you have consistent access to the energy of that center. You transmit that energy into the environment, and it's very naturally powerful for you. If a center or all of these centers did not have color in them, if they were just white, that means it's undefined, also known as an open center. An open center does not have consistent access to the energy of that center. Instead, you receive and amplify energy from those who are defined in that center, who give off powerful energy from that center. So this is a big piece of where we can receive a lot of conditioning in life, is with open centers. And it can be painful if we don't understand it and if we don't use it correctly, but it can also be a great source of wisdom if you understand how to utilize it and how to share it and spread that wisdom. So an example of having maybe a defined solar plexus, so defined would be colored in, is your emotions never seem to be static. You experience a series of highs and lows, but at the same time, you're very equipped to handle those emotions. It's like you can go really, really high, but you know how to bring yourself back down, and you know how to ride that wave. Same with when you're really, really low. But that doesn't mean that you have extreme highs and lows. For you, a defined solar plexus could mean a little bit of a roller coaster, but it's almost like a little kid's roller coaster. Like you can ride that, and it's not super high, not super low, but you still feel those ups and downs. Or having a defined root center could mean that you operate really well under pressure. That if you're in an environment where you have to go fast paced and you're rushing, essentially, you can handle that. Whereas if you had an open root center, sometimes rushing can make you feel like you make more mistakes. It can really stress you out. You really struggle in high stress environments. That would be an example of an open root center. Now here, is a little bit about my chart. So I am a manifesting generator. And the moment I heard this, I was working with a business coach at the time. And we work through, because I work with holistic coaches myself, we work through a lot of internal traumas and struggles. And she could see me struggling a lot in the sense that I really had this limiting belief of myself that I was a quitter. And I felt that way because I would do so many things and then I would feel like I've achieved them, or I would feel like I've learned what I wanted to learn from it and I would get bored and move on. So throughout my life, it was like, oh, look at Anna, she's starting up another business again, or oh, what is she doing now? And so for me, that felt like people saw me as a quitter. And over time, I started to feel myself, why can't I finish anything? Why can't I stick with any one thing? And then so my coach was like, have you ever heard of human design? And I said no. And so she pulled up, I think it was mybodygraph.com, and she showed this to me and we explored it. And let me tell you, I have never felt so validated in my entire life. I am literally, this system that has no clue who I am literally explained me to a T. I'm a manifesting generator, which means I am meant to be multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate people who come here to do and accomplish many, many things. We start a lot of things because we like to learn new things. And then when we feel like we've learned all that we wanted to learn, we can teach it to others and then we move on. And that is how I am built. That was mind blowing to me. And I've never to this day felt like a quitter ever again. I had this sense of validation for, okay, I understand why I feel out of alignment here. I feel as though I've learned everything I needed to learn and I'm ready to teach it to others and or move on to something else. So my strategy is responding. And if you are a generator type, that tends to be our strategy. Now, what I mean by responding is we wait for the external environment to give us something to respond to. And that's how we best work with the external world. So if I'm trying to push to say I have a new offer, I'm a coach. So say I have a new offer I'm trying to put out there. No one told me they wanted this, but I thought this would be great to teach. So I put it out there and I'm hitting a wall and I just keep pushing, and I'm not finding success with it. End up feeling frustrated, right? Because that is my not self theme. That was me not using my strategy correctly. Whereas when I first started telling my clients about human design and I saw they were eating it up and they wanted more and they wanted more and they wanted me to do actual design chart readings, I stopped and I was like, oh, this is what responding means. I am now responding to what is coming to me and I can continue to flow. And I found my flow. I stopped hitting that wall. I stopped feeling frustrated. I was simply responding. So a lot of responding is trusting that life is coming to me and then being connected with my sacral response. Now, sacral response, if you are a generator, how many generators do we have here? Drop it in the comments since I can't see everyone's hand at the same time. And if you're a manifesting generator, you are a type of generator. So you can drop that in the comments too. So a sacral response is your gut feeling. Oh, Catherine, you can go right to my website, adrianakeefe.com wait, did I put it? I think I put it in the top, but you might not see it, but /get your chart. Let me drop it in the comments again for you. You can get it right there so that you can follow along. AM or PM does matter. It should be allowing for AM or PM. That's interesting. If anyone else runs into that problem, please drop that in the comments. So your sacral response is literally connected to that defined sacral center, and it means your gut response. It's in military time. There you go. So gut response is for generators, a lot of times that can look like we are responding vocally. So if someone asks me if I want to do pizza tonight, and I'm like, that sounds so good. And I literally respond vocally. Or if you're kind of conditioned to stay quiet, which a lot of us have been, hi, women in this century, well, women in all time, you can hear it in your head. So if you're hearing it in your head, it's the same exact response. And I encourage you to start to vocalize it and practice that vocal response. Or if someone maybe asks you to do a workshop for a company, and your first initial gut reaction is, oh, like that doesn't sound like me. That doesn't sound like I have the time for that, blah, blah, blah. Like your gut reaction, that is your sacral response. So if you are a generator type, that is the response that you are going to be looking for, and practice listening to that response. It's very 50-50. I have half the people say they are very connected to that response, and half people say that they don't recognize where that comes from at all. And your response can come from that gut feeling. It can come from your head. It can come from this weird feeling in your chest. I've heard many different things. It doesn't feel the same for everyone, but practice with that feeling. We also, it's so fun when you're a generator and you start to listen to the sacral response, because when you're even eating something delicious, you just like moan, you're like, this is good. Like you just let those sounds out. That's a very generator type of response. So that is my strategy, responding and listening to my sacral response. But my authority, now this is the way that I make decisions. So my authority isn't just in the sacral center. My authority is in the solar plexus. So what that means for me is I need to pay attention to my gut sacral response. And that response is great for the small decisions in life, but I have to take it a step further when it comes to really big decisions, like taking on a new employee, or taking on a new hiring a nanny, or maybe doing a big course with someone else, maybe choosing who you want to get married to, putting an offer in on a house. And that solar plexus emotional response for me looks like I have to wait to find that emotional clarity. If you are a defined solar plexus, you recognize along with me that sometimes you can be really excited and say yes to something, and then maybe after you've had some time to sit on it, it doesn't feel good anymore. And that's that clarity that you need to find. So that is that wave that you need to ride. And sometimes, a lot of the time, that clarity is not 100% even at the end. But if you're like 90, okay, maybe like 78% clear, that's your clarity. Because a lot of the times it's not 100% for me if I have to ride that wave, but it's what feels the most clear for you at the end of that emotional response. And then my not self being frustration, we talked about that. My profiles are a lot of fun. We might not have much time to get into that today, but it's your personality. So the first number is your conscious personality, and then the second number is your subconscious personality. Mine means I'm an opportunist role model, which essentially says that my experience with others bring wisdom to share. And it means that I love to have a big network of people. I love to stay well connected. That's the 4 in me. But then the 6 in me, the part that I didn't recognize, that other people recognized in me, almost like what people say about you when you walk out of the room, right? That's what are they saying about you that you don't recognize yourself, is that role model piece where I am a natural teacher and I'm a natural coach. And I've had a lot of horrible, awful things that happened to me in my life, but I now have been able to put a reasoning to them, to be able to use those traumas to help other people and teach other people. And I know this is a lot of information, so you're welcome to start dropping questions in the comments if you don't want to forget it, or you can note it down and we'll get to it later. So I do want you to just take a minute to ask yourself right now, what would it feel like if you knew you had the answers within you? If you are a business owner in here, or even someone in corporate, but you are feeling a little wishy-washy on some things and some structures, or even as a parent, because parenting is hard. I can tell you, understanding my kids' human designs, which they are all something different, by the way, that's a lot of fun, is how would it feel if you had those answers within you and your kids? You were able to understand your kids better. You could understand your spouse better. I mean, there's so many different areas in your life that you could apply this to. Wellness warrior, you relate to my design. I am so happy to hear that. I almost always have manifesting generators in these workshops that are very much like me. We're very common. We're about 37% of the population. So there's that. I just want you to think about how powerful it would be to make your life decisions using your design. And maybe even write it down as like your why. Why is this important to me? Why is this resonating with me so much? And then keep that with you to remind yourself to go back to your strategy and authority. So, excuse me. So let's touch base real quick and understand. Here, let me go to my next slide. Any day now. Here we go. Well, I missed a slide. That's fine. So let's touch base real quick and understand how you can learn more about your unique design and grow both personally and professionally through that understanding. For when you're ready to understand more about why you are the way you are, I do offer more in-depth human design chart readings, as well as one-to-one coaching. And my coaching program shows you exactly how to create that custom life. I say balance in quotes because there's really no balance. I call it harmony, really, without sacrificing things that you don't want to sacrifice, because everyone is different. And if we continue to do everything the same way that others are doing, then we'll continue to keep hitting that wall and not see the success we want for ourselves. I was so sick of having the same coach just tell me to do the same things and go in Facebook groups and find clients and go do cold calling and go do this. And I was in real estate. That's literally, they keep telling you to do the same thing over and over again. And it did not feel good to me. So it was obvious why I wasn't finding success that I wanted to find. It doesn't feel good. And so this coaching program that I have offers the one-to-one design where you can connect and understand your design, and then through life, find your flow that way. Now we're going to head into the open Q&A and talk through your own personal designs. You're welcome to either come on camera or drop them in the chat box as well. And I'm also happy to dive, what time is it? I'm also happy to dive, yeah, we've got plenty of time, deeper into anything else. There's some really fun information, like reflectors are only 1% of the population. So if we have a reflector in here, I need your autograph. Reflectors have literally every single center open. So they are extremely, I don't like the word vulnerable, but it kind of is, to external conditioning. So they would be someone, Christine, you're a reflector? No way. That's awesome. All right, autograph. I'm waiting for it. But they're extremely open to other people's conditioning. So they really, environment is really crucial for them. Finding the right people is really crucial for them, because they can almost ebb and flow with who they are around, and it can be beautiful or it can be really difficult depending on who they're around. Police the environment, yes, literally means where you thrive best. So if you are someone who thrives in, like, maybe your strongest sense is taste and you thrive in an environment where you're out, external environment. So like maybe you're going out to eat and that literally just lights you up. Like you allocate money every single month to just go to brand new restaurants or one with a really cool vibe. Yes, I can go back to the types. And that is just where you feel so good. It almost feels like home to you in a weird way. You find a lot of inspiration there. Maybe you like to work at busy coffee shops or something that's hustling and bustling. There's a lot of other information in human design charts that are brilliant to start to understand. Like your cross of incarnation is said to be your purpose in life. And mine definitely resonates with me. And then I can also touch on how to support each individual type. I think that that's really helpful a lot of the time. So for a generator, you want to ask them yes or no questions, because like I said before, with the sacral response, you want to be connected to your sacral response. You want the person, if your coworker is a generator, you want to allow them to answer based on that response. So if you ask them yes or no questions, it's much easier for them to answer. Instead of asking, do you want Chinese food or pizza? They'll be like, I don't know, it's too many options. Like, can you just say a yes or a no question? And then the other thing with generators is they might seem slow with projects because they put their all into one thing. And they feel very strongly that they need to complete that one thing before moving on to something else. Whereas me, manifesting generator, all the others in here, we're like, no, but let's do like this and this and this, and we can do a bunch of things. And so sometimes, like my husband, is a pure generator and I'm a manifesting generator. And I'll be like, can you put that down? Like the baby is crying. Stop it. Stop. Just stop. Go put that down. And it's hard for him. It's physically hard for him. But that's because he's a generator. We have 2 reflectors. That's awesome. I would love to hear your experiences and if any of this is resonating with you on the open centers type of level. Supporting a manifesting generator. It's very similar to a generator. So yes or no questions. But like I said, we can be very speedy. So we can move through things quickly. And it's important to encourage your manifesting generators to continue doing that and continue doing a lot of the things that they want to do. Tell them it's okay to have many different interests, especially if you have a child maybe who wants to do like 4 different hobbies. And while I'm not saying you need to sign your kid up for 4 things, I actually purposefully tell people not to do that. Encourage them that it's great to try new things all the time. Maybe we'll take 1 at a time or 2 at a time, and however it is. And also knowing that they have a lot of energy to burn. So supporting them and slowing down when they feel overwhelmed, because we can burn out if we're not living by our design. If we get a little carried away, manifesting generators can really easily burn out. A manifester, supporting a manifester is don't try and control them. Asking them too many questions and trying to force yourself to be in their circle comes across as controlling to them. So manifestors are literally here to initiate conversation, initiate projects. That's literally what they do. So if someone is trying to almost push themselves upon them, then that other person seems controlling to them. So autonomy is very important to manifestors. And it's also good for manifestors to settle down and rest before going to sleep at night. This is what I have seen personally, where a lot of anxiety can come in. Same with generators and manifesting generators. We need to have a bedtime routine almost that settles us down before going to bed, or that mind is constantly going and your body is just simply not ready. Projectors are here to literally share their gifts. So invite them and initiate for them to share their gifts. Invite them to share their wisdom and their advice. Give them specific compliments. If your child is a projector, maybe asking kids at the dinner table to share about their day. And knowing that with projectors, they can work really hard for a few hours and then they get really tired and they need a break. So rest for projectors is very productive. They don't have that consistent energy that a generator type does. They can go all out on something for a few hours, but then they're like, I need to go take a nap. And in the day and age that we live in, it can seem to other people like they're lazy. And I'm here to tell you, if you're a projector and that's how you feel, you are not lazy. Rest is extremely productive for you. You need a lot of alone time to clear your energy. Mona, true? Are you a projector? You do. It's very, I mean, they tend to be not so much introverted, but just needing that alone time. They need to clear that energy and create space within the day to have that time for themselves. For projectors, remember to bring on support and don't get lost in all the doing. Don't try and force yourself to do all the doing. You are literally not built to do all the doing. You are built with that beautiful wisdom and advice to share and to teach others along the path. Hire on other people to do the things that don't feel good for you. Hire on other people to initiate and manifest the beginning of things, and you can be there to guide. That's what you're really good at. A reflector is just like the coolest. I'm learning so much about human design all the time. I'm not even like a 20th of the way in, but a reflector always fascinates me because with them being so open, they literally reflect out into the world what the world is looking like right now. So they can reflect out the good, the bad, the ugly. Their energy, everything that they're going through reflects the time and the space that they're in right now. So it's beautiful. It can also be really difficult for a reflector if they don't understand how to clear that energy. And what's really interesting about reflectors is that their decision-making process is called lunar. And they they need a full 28 days, a full lunar cycle to make big decisions. And again, our society is simply not built that way. If your house offer is accepted, or you want to put in an offer on a house and you're asking, can I please just have 28 days to make sure this feels right to me? They would laugh in your face and walk away. That would not work. But for the things that you can, like maybe you want to buy a new car, maybe you're thinking about where to have your wedding, allow 28 days for that full lunar cycle to make those decisions. It really helps things process through each of your centers and come back out for you to find your clarity. And again, with reflectors, make sure you unwind before bed, before exhaustion, really. Don't let yourself get to the point of exhaustion, and make sure that you embrace the fluidity that your life has for you, because it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like the chameleon, I feel like, of the types, because you can ebb and flow, and you can create space for others, and also teach so much wisdom, because you can feel so much everything else around you. Let's see, I see a few questions here. It would feel liberating and joyful to tap into this kind of self-knowledge. I so agree. I usually act on my gut reactions. I'm deeply connected to my intuition, internally, and emotions to make decisions. I usually move slowly until it feels right. Good for you. Absolutely. I'm curious, did you say what type you were? Let's see. I don't think I saw that one. Projector, and I've long wished for a nap room here. Yes, every single projector I've ever met is like, yes, the nap struggle is real, and it's different. Like if you have young children, yes, we're tired a lot of the time. It's different. Projectors literally need like that mental breather to be able to continue on. As a reflector, I find it hard to use the design in the modern day lifestyle that I live. Yes, I'm also tired. Yes. Yep. Are there blended multidimensional design types, or do these types always present as distinct? So blended, the only blended type would be the manifesting generator. So as a manifesting generator, I have the ability to manifest, to initiate things, but I also have the ability to run through them and power through them and take them to the end. Manifestors can literally what it sounds like, manifest. They can initiate really, really well, but they're designed to be that inspiration, that, ooh, let's do this, and then take it on and then hand it off for someone else to run with. So that is the only blended type. That being said, there is so much more on human design. Let me go back to, so if you see all these numbers, these are based on the I Ching. All the numbers, they're kind of blurry here, but they represent your gates. And then all the lines represent your channels and all of these. And then there's your profile and other pieces of your design where you can be similar to someone else who's a projector. You can have similar gates, which are personality types or channels, and everything along those lines. Oh, sorry guys. Where did my screen go? There we go. You can have all of those similarities, but be different types. So it can be a little blended in that way, but the only actual type that is blended would be the manifesting generator. I don't know what type, Adriana. You can head over to my website. I just dropped it again. adrianakeefe.com/get-your-chart, and you can get your information there. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? It's a lot of information, There's great information online, or I also have been posting more information on my podcast, since people have been asking for more human design, toying with the idea of starting another podcast specifically on human design. But I also have the chart readings as well if you want to get more in depth on it. But I think, did we have any manifestors in here? I feel like I've seen most except for manifestors. I don't think I saw that one. But the gates are a lot of fun to start to learn about. So are the profiles. With the profiles, if you want to drop your profile numbers, and I can give you a little brief rundown about what those are, because those I find really helpful. There's 12 different profiles. What if birth time is not known? Okay. So there's a few different ways that you can figure out your birth time. If you can contact the city that you were born in, they will have it on record there at the town hall. If that is not an option for you, if you were born in a different country or you don't have any other ways of figuring that out, there is this pendulum trick. And now I've never done it, so I can't guide you through it, but I can provide you the resources to do it. The pendulum, you can literally find out what time of day you were born, or at least a close enough estimate based on the way the pendulum swings. It's really interesting. I've seen it done. Wow, we have a lot of 4 6s in here. Nice. But I don't specifically have a little guide for you. But Mona, if that is something that you need, shoot me a message and I'll get that over to you. I'm showing manifesting generator was not self-theme. Not self-theme is how you feel when you are not in alignment with your type, with your design, with your strategy and authority. So if you're trying to force something to happen, if you're trying to really hit a new goal, but whatever way you're trying to achieve that goal isn't working, that's the feeling that you get. If you feel frustrated, I'm guessing your theme is frustrated, probably. That means that you're out of alignment. So what I would recommend, if you're starting to recognize that you're feeling frustrated, is audit what you did. Literally audit your day, audit your week, go back, find out, where was I out of alignment? Where was I pushing when I should have not been pushing? Where was I pushing and trying to get things done when I wasn't responding? So that is going to be your cue to look back at your week, your month, whatever, however long it's been, and figure out where you fell out of alignment and how you can move forward based on your strategy and authority. If you could take any top 2 things out of this workshop, it would be your strategy and your authority, because there's a lot of information here. So take it baby steps. Pick one, start with one, and then go from there, and then start to implement it within your days, and find, maybe even keep a journal, a log, whatever feels good to you, and start to recognize how it's helping you. And it will literally be a game changer. And then you can move on to try maybe taking authority into account. But just start small, because it's a lot of information. Let's see. 4 6 4 6. The 4 6 profile is extremely interesting. If you have a 6 in your profile, I'm going to guess that from the years of 0 to 30 years old, you had a lot of struggle, some trauma, some really hard times. But I'm here to tell you that on the other end is you are now going to be able to use that wisdom from the ages of 30 to 50 to really identify who you are and recognize yourself. The 6 profile is challenging because we have a lot of trauma, but that is meant to be turned around into wisdom. So it's a really interesting profile to dive deeper in. Let's see, 2-5 profile. So what's interesting about human design is with the profiles, some of the language is a bit outdated. So for the 2, it is a hermit, which literally means that your conscious side of yourself probably likes, your environment is really important to you, and you probably like to be more by yourself more than often. Or more often than not, you like to just kind of chill out, be a little bit more introverted. Or you just like to be home more, and that feels really good for you. And then the 5 is called the heretic, and that's you're a bit more secretive, a bit more reserved. You sometimes can feel standoffish, but then you kind of swoop in because out of nowhere sometimes, because you also really love to solve issues. So you'll swoop in and save the day. That's what the 5, the heretic, is. Let's see. Yes, an hour. Yep, an hour. 15 minutes can change a lot of things. It can change. There's a good amount of similarities, but there can be a lot of changes if you don't have the exact time. Your mom said sometime in the morning. Yeah, it's hard because a lot of them did not keep track. I mean, now on Facebook, you can literally see everyone post what time of day their kid was born. So our kids are going to be great. Digestion, yes. So there's even more to human design than just the basic this information. So it can tell you your digestion, your greatest sense, and all of this can be utilized in your everyday life. So for digestion, each of us have a unique way in which we are designed to take nutrition into our body to fuel our bodies. And in human design, we have something called the PHS, which is the primary health system, and it provides whoever's looking at it with the map to the correct way to take sustenance into your body. So it can talk about like slow digestion, morning digestion. Judy, what kind of digestion did it say you had? And then yes, I can show the slide with the chakra system. There we go. Let's see. Okay. So, yep, I'm a hermit. 6-2 profile. Yes. So the 6-2 profile is the role model is the 6, and then the 2 is that hermit. So what they say about the 6-2 profile is your pearl is the wisdom from your lifelong inner process. So that 6, right? That I'm guessing from ages 0 to 30, you had a lot of struggle, and that is going to be your source of wisdom for not only teaching others, but for yourself, for your lifelong inner process. It's going to really help you come home to who you are. Now, nobody ever wants to look at trauma as a good thing, but in some circumstances, you can recognize where it's helped you grow and who you are today based on that trauma, based on that struggle, and who you can help. And then yeah, that 2 being the hermit side, you just really like to be more alone, be more in your own environment. That's kind of a strong part of who you are. Brittany, wow, nailed it. Feels very much like my horoscope sign as well. Exactly, because a lot of it's astrology. And that's, I think, why another one of the why this felt like it resonated so well, because I loved astrology growing up. I don't know a ton about it, but I do really enjoy it. And then so when I recognized that astrology was a big piece of human design, I was like, oh, that's perfect. I love learning about astrology. I can do this. Yep. Yes, perfect. Yeah, it's interesting. Gina, did you find your chart? I don't remember if you told me in the past what you were, but I'm curious to know what you are.
Yes, I did. I am a manifestor generator.
Yes.
But a 3-5.
Oh, 3-5. Let me think on that for a second. 3. Oh, martyr. Oh yeah. See, this is another one of those
Martyr.
where
That doesn't sound good.
I know. I don't love the name. It's an old school name. I don't know if they'll ever change it. Ra'aruhu has since passed, but the martyr, and then that 5 being the heretic. So the 3-5 is that others live vicariously through your experiences. Now, I don't know if that hits home with you right away, or if not, I can piece it together. So the martyr is you literally learn from your experiences, and you are someone who you have to, it's also called the experiential. You have to do things. Like, people can sit there and be like, you really shouldn't do that. That doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, but I have to try it. Like, I have to do it. That's how I learn. That's how I grow. Even if everyone's telling you it's not going to work, you're just like, I'm going to do it. Step aside. And then the 5 being that more reserved aspect of you, but you also love to solve problems. And so you'll ride in on your white horse and save the day and solve those problems. But sometimes that can catch you, because then you try to solve everyone else's problems when you don't need to. So be careful with that 5 and make sure that you're not doing it too much, too often, and worrying too much about how you do it for other people.